As you think about some of those experiences that you just said, how are you prioritizing? Because I'm sure it's easy to get distracted by like all these capabilities of the future. But as you think about the big technology priorities for the state, both in your urban and in your rural areas, like how are you prioritizing some of the decisions that you're making?
Well, very clearly, the governor has a very focused agenda for me as Secretary of Information Technology. So first and foremost, to be clear, my number one priority is really broadband. If you want to call that connectivity, I think those words interchange a lot. But 40%, I believe, of our rural areas today lack access to high-speed internet connectivity. That number obviously goes down dramatically when we look at our urban areas. But at the same time, when you look at our urban areas, the populations that are being impacted in those urban areas probably equates to the same level of the population levels that are sitting out in our rural areas as well. So connectivity and broadband in general is an entire state problem that needs to get addressed. And so first and foremost, that's what we're targeting. We recognize the importance of connectivity in our state. As I said before, there's a reason why the state of North Carolina is seeing all these businesses come there. It's because we have an infrastructure for them to plug into. We have a workforce that's capable and ready to engage in these types of activities. But we also know that we have over 1.1 million people in our state, which is roughly 10% of our state population, that is on the wrong side of the digital divide. They lack access to high-speed internet connectivity. We cannot afford to let them behind. There's a cost if we do that, and that cost is going to be to our future generations here in the state of North Carolina. We need to make sure we do that, but we also need to make sure we're doing it in an equitable fashion. So equity's got to be at the forefront of all the things that we do. And when we look across our connectivity here in our state, we see that Caucasian households are connecting at a high-speed connectivity at 76%. And I'll define high-speed connectivity as 100 down, 20 up, which differs from the FCC definition of 25/3, just so we're clear. But then when we get to across our racial subdivisions, when you look at Native American households, that number drops dramatically to 57%. When you get to our African American communities, that number is only at 64%. And when you get to our Latinx community, that number is only at 67%. So you can see that we have a wide disparity here as far as the affordability or the accessibility to connect to the high-speed internet to avail everybody. And so the governor is very clear in what he wants us to accomplish, and that is that across all racial subdivisions, 80% of our households will be connected to high-speed internet connectivity in 4 years, January 2025. We also have another goal where we recognize the importance of connectivity when we look at education opportunities for our children. That was clearly shown over the last 15 months with the pandemic. And with that in mind, the governor's challenge to us is to get to all households with children to get to 100% connectivity, because we do recognize the importance of a child's ability to get a quality education and the impact that has for our economy and our future generations here in the state. Now we're looking at doing that across three different areas. First and foremost is the build out of infrastructure. And the governor's signature piece of his ARP investment plan is around broadband. And so he's proposing a $1.2 billion investment in broadband for the state of North Carolina. $600 million of that is actually targeted for the build out of infrastructure. Another $420 million of that is targeted to address the affordability piece of high-speed connectivity as we look at North Carolina. And this is really a build-off, if you will, of the current emergency broadband benefit that is out there today that the FCC is administering. Today, so far, we've gotten about 100,000 of our households of that 1.1 million registered for that plan. But we're not anywhere close to getting to 1.1 million. So we have more work to do there. And then lastly is really focusing around literacy and enablement. The governor's proposing a $165 million investment in literacy and enablement, which is really targeting about devices. It's talking about education opportunities, and again, making sure that as we're connecting households to the high-speed internet, they're not falling victims to the nefarious actors that are out there. So we have to have a cyber component to this as well. And so that we have a very vigorous schedule, I guess you might want to say, for the next 4 years to work around cyber.
Thanks for that, Jim. That was it. It really underscores the size and scope of the role. I mean, I don't know how you sleep at night. That's a busy next few years for you.
I was going to say it's an exciting opportunity, though. I mean, it's just like we are here at a transformative moment in North Carolina. To be honest, the state's financial picture is very robust. We have opportunities coming from the federal government through the use of ARP funds. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity here for us in North Carolina to go do some really great things that transform and impact people's lives. And this is our moment to shine. So while it sounds overwhelming, as you can see, it's also exciting as all heck to be able to be in a position to hopefully be able to deliver on some of those transformative opportunities to really make a difference in people's lives here in North Carolina.